Good glory morning, everybody. Welcome back to a series on Job. Elihu has stepped onto the plate, condemning Job. Well, not condemning Job yet, but rebuking Job and his friends. And now we're going to read Job 35 through 37, which is basically Elihu's, condemns Job. Elihu extols God's greatness, and Elihu proclaims God's majesty in the next few chapters here. So let's read and see what Elihu has to say. So start at Job 35, and Elihu answered and said, "Do you think this is to be just? Do you say it is my right before God? That you ask, what advantage have I? How am I better off than if I had sinned? I will answer you, and your friends are with you. Look at the heavens and see, and behold the clouds which are higher than you. If you have sinned, what do you accomplish against him? If your transgressions are multiplied, what do you do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give to him, or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness concerns man like yourself, and your righteousness the Son of Man. Because of the multitude of oppressions, people cry out, they call for help. They call for help because of the arm of the mighty. But none says, where is God my Maker, who gives songs in the night? Who teaches us more than the beasts of the earth, and makes us wiser than the birds of the heavens? There they cry out, but he does not answer because of the pride of evil men. Surely God does not hear an empty cry, nor does the Almighty regard it. How much less when you say that you do not see him, that the case is before him and you are waiting for him. And now because his anger does not punish, and he does not take much note of transgression. He opens his mouth in empty talk, he multiplies words without knowledge. Basically just like, hey, what up, Job? I showed up. By the way, you suck, like what else is Elihu supposed to point out here? It's just like, man, like I think the conclusion of the book of Job is, can Job get a freaking break? Like, like Elihu shows up, and it's just like, Job, you need a freaking break. You need a vacation. You need to go to the Sea of Galilee, man. You need to get out of the land of Uz and go over to the Mediterranean Sea. Oh my goodness. So Job 36, Elihu extols God's greatness. And what's the definition of extol? I actually never really use that word. Praise enthusiastically. Okay. So Elihu praises enthusiastically God's greatness. And Elihu continued and said, bear with me a little, and I will show you, for I have yet something to say on God's behalf. I will get my knowledge from afar, and ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. One who is perfect in knowledge is with you. Behold, God is mighty and does not despise any. He is mighty in strength of understanding. He does not keep the wicked alive, but gives the afflicted the right. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous, but with kings on the throne, he sets them forever, and they are exalted. And if they are bound in chains and caught in the cords of affliction, then he declares to them in their work and their transgressions that they are behaving arrogantly. He opens their ears to instruction, commands that they return from iniquity. They listen and serve him. They complete their days in prosperity and their years in pleasantness. But if they do not listen, they perish by the sword and die without knowledge. The godless in heart cherish anger. They do not cry for help when he binds them. They die in youth, and the life ends among the cold prostitutes. He delivers the afflicted by their affliction, and opens their ears by adversity. He also lured you out of distress into a broad place where there was no cramping, and what was set on your table is full of fatness. But you are full of the judgment on the wicked. Judgment and justice seize you. Beware lest wrath entice you into scoffing, and let not the greatness of the master turn your side. Will your cry for help avail to keep you from distress, all the force of your strength? Do not long for the night when peoples vanish in their place. Take care, do not turn to iniquity, for this you have chosen rather than affliction. Behold, God is exalted in his power, who is a teacher like him, who has prescribed for him his way, or who could say, you have done wrong. Remember to extol his work of which men have sung. All mankind has looked on it, man beholds it from afar. Behold, God is great, and we know him not. The number of your years is unsearchable. For he draws up the draughts of water, they distill his mist in rain, which the skies pour down and drop on mankind abundantly. Can anyone understand the spreading of the clouds and the thunderings of his pavilion? Behold, he scatters his lightning about him, covers the roots of the sea. For by these he judges peoples, he gives food in abundance. He covers his hand with the lightning and commands it to strike the mark. Its crashing declares his presence. The cattle also declares that he rises. So this is good. Like this was like, yes, live, good job. Like this is I think this like it's so weird because I think there's truth in what Elihu and the friends are saying, but at the same time they're fundamentally wrong with thinking that Job is doing wrong slash sinning. But I think Elihu is more mad that Job justified himself. And Job 29 through 31. I think it's more mad that Job justified himself before God, even though that God himself thinks that Job is righteous. But I mean, the only thing that really stuck out to me in this chapter, I don't truly understand this. It was a verse saying something about like people disappearing. Like, is there any other like what is this verse? Like, will you cry for help? Do not long for the night when peoples vanish in their place. I don't know. What does that even mean? It's this.
Strong's H 5927. Allah. Allah.
Allah? That's the word for to go up, ascend, climb. To go up, ascend, meet, visit, vol, depart, withdraw, retreat. To be taken out, be brought up, be taken away. All right, so. Oh no. That is not what I want to do. Let's go back. Let's go back to the chapter. So what is this? I don't know. Like this almost like I would love to compare this to like the rapture. But at the same time, there's no other context what this means. The word vanish could also mean go up in their place. It's funny that does Allah also, what does Allah mean? It's just the Arabic word for God. So the Hebrew word for ascend is different. So the two words are different. So sorry, I thought I thought it could be the same thing. I was like, is that what Allah means? But I guess Allah means God in Arabic. So yeah. All right. Next chapter. I don't know what that verse means. I honestly want to get Job 36:20. A second opinion on that verse. That's actually really interesting. I'm going to type it here just so I don't forget. 20. All right, cool. All right, next chapter. Job 37. Elihu proclaims God's majesty. All right, so at this also my heart trembles and leaps out of its place. Keep listening to the thunder of his voice and the rumbling that comes from his mouth. Under the whole heaven he lets it go, and his lightning to the corners of the earth. After it, his voice roars, he thunders with his majestic voice, and he does not restrain the lightnings which his voice is heard. God thunders wondrously with his voice. He does great things that we cannot comprehend. For to the snow he says, fall on the earth, likewise to the downpour, his mighty downpour. He seals up the hand of every man, that all men whom he made may know it. Then the beasts go into the lairs and remain in their dens. From its chamber comes the whirlwind, and comes from the scattering winds. By the breath of God ice is given, and the broad waters are frozen fast. He loads a thick cloud with moisture, he clouds scatter his lightning. They turn around and round by his guidance to accomplish all that he commands them on the face of the habitable world. Whether for the correction or for his land or for love, he causes it to happen. Hear this, O Job, stop and consider the wondrous works of God. Do you know how God lays his command upon them and causes the lightning of his cloud to shine? Do you know the balancings of the clouds, the wondrous works for him who is perfect in knowledge? You whose garments are hot when the earth is still because of the south wind, can you, like him, spread out the skies hard as a cast metal mirror? Teach us what we shall say to him. We cannot draw up our case because of the darkness. Shall it be told him that I would speak? Did a man ever wish that he would be swallowed up? And now no one looks on the light when it is bright in the skies, when the wind has passed and cleared him. Out of the north comes golden splendor. God is clothed with awesome majesty. The Almighty, we cannot find him. He is great in power, justice in abundance, righteousness he will not violate. Therefore, men fear him. He does not regard any who are wise in their own conceit. I think this is what Elihu's condemning Job for. He does not regard any who are wise in their own conceit. So conceit, definition, excessive pride in oneself. Sorry for my vocabulary. I don't. What is the learning experience of both of us? One of the reasons I'm doing the series is not to share knowledge, but to receive knowledge. And one of the ways to remember is to teach. So that's why I'm basically doing this. So I love this chapter because I feel like Elihu. There's so much truth in these chapters. Like it's not just pointless to read this. I used to go through Job and I would be like, oh, well, the friends are fundamentally wrong, so everything they're saying is wrong. No, like, this is actually good. Like, this is like, it's good to know that God says to the snow, fall on the earth. Likewise to rain, downpour. Like, it's like, I do love these verses, and there's a lot of truth in what he's saying here. Is Elihu still right? Probably not. And we're going to find out in the next couple of days here because we're going to be finishing, surprise, surprise, we're going to be finishing Job in the next 2 sessions. So feel free to go into a time of worship and in prayer, and I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you have a good glory morning, everybody.